Hello and welcome to my UPL retrospective. I did a live stream of the draft, I got drafted into the Choice Bandits, and I got to play a few times this season, so I thought I would do a post-com of both the teams I used and the games, and go over my thoughts and feelings and everything, and why not? So, first 4 weeks was it first 4 or first 3? First 3 weeks I didn't get to play, I just wasn't a starter, and I was fine with that. We had pretty good SS options in my opinion, and I was trying to help out in team building, but I'm also not a fantastic builder in my own personal opinion. I'm not a fantastic player in general, really. Let's not beat around the bush. But yeah, I wanted to try and help out in the builder and by testing games, because I do think I'm a pretty good tester. So, first 3 weeks didn't get to play. Week 4 I have my first start, because one of our players is very busy and has internet issues due to situations in real life that we can't control. So I get to start, and I'm feeling pretty happy, and my first opponent is Rayhey. Rayhey made top 16 of OST, is a manager, and is just generally a very good player. You can't really deny that or say anything else about Rayhey other than he's a pretty good player. At this point, I have played no games in tournaments aside from seasonal for 5 years, I think, 4 years maybe? No, 4 years, sorry. And the seasonal games, I got knocked out round 4 by Squin. So I don't really feel like I have much available to be scouted on me, and the seasonal game was either during or just before Most Wanted, so quite a while ago. I feel like Rayhey isn't going to prep anything in particular for me. I don't think he's thinking about me at all in his prep, and I think he's mostly just thinking he'll bring something pretty solid and try and outplay me. So I feel like I've noticed in the first few weeks of UPL that Carmine Kyogre is really, really, really good. And other people have also noticed that, and they've started running Surf on their Carmine Kyogres, so that at +6, the crit will kill opposing Carmine Kyogre. That's the extent that we're seeing, and we're seeing Ice Beam plus Surf as Kyogre's coverage. And in my head, I'm just thinking, well, yeah, that works, but if I get crit, then I just lose the game, because Carmine Kyogre is such a good win con against me too. So I'm going to use Raw sub Carmine Kyogre with a bit of a nutty EV spread. So I'll explain the EV spread later. All of these things do important benchmarks, basically. After deciding on the set of Sub-CM Kyogre, I thought I'll build something pretty solid, because this was also the last week of the Zacian meta, by the way. So Eternatus, Yveltal, Necrozma, and Ho-Oh are kind of important. And because my Kyogre doesn't have rest, I decided to put on an Aromatherapy Xerneas as well. This Geomancy Xerneas, by the way, is designed to counter-style Web's HO. It's 1 point faster than Slurpuffs that think they can yawn against you and prevent you from being able to be a problem, so you substitute on them, you Geomancy up, and Misty Explosion won't break your sub. I also have Aromatherapy for the balance matchup, so that Kyogre, if it gets paralyzed or poisoned, I can go into Xerneas later, get rid of it, and then Carmine Kyogre can try go again. Cosmic Power Eternatus, I just felt like it would be a good set. I wanted to go max speed because I kind of fall over a little bit to offensive Eternatus, and I wanted to at least have the option of speed tying with it, but it wasn't a brilliant situation for me to be in. Yveltal, I just went with the Groudon answer spread, which is this HP lives every attack Life Orb Groudon can go for, so you can bring it in hard and SD Groudon on foul play. I also wanted U-turn just so that I could get in my Kyogre easier, because most of what I was planning on doing was revolving around getting Kyogre in and working against a balanced build and just trying to deal with a more offensive build between Xerneas and the double defog. So next up was Necrozma. I lose to a +1 Zekrom with this team, so I need Earthquake on it. I am Swords Dance. I decided to go without Stealth Rock this week, because I just felt, especially in the Zacian meta, maybe less so in the post-Zacian meta, I was really feeling like Stealth Rock was just a luxury that I didn't need to have. Because everything was running boots if it was weak to rocks, and all of the defoggers in the tier beat Necrozma 1v1 anyway. So if I go with SD Necrozma, I have a better matchup against the balanced build, and to be clear, I was expecting Rayhey to bring a more balanced build against me. I wasn't expecting a balls to the wall HO, and if I was expecting that, I was expecting Slurpuff Webs, which is why I had Xerneas. So I did feel like Swords Dance was more situationally useful to allow me to beat opposing Tangrowth and potentially like a Buzzwole or something like that that might try and just come in and wall me. And yeah, I decided on SD for that. This is like, I'm recording all of these games after the last UPL game that I'll play, so I'm trying to remember all of the reasons I built the team the way I did. These four were pretty standard. Eternatus a bit different just because my own Eternatus matchup was very rough. Xerneas, like I said, so the speed is for a Slurpuff. You sub up on it and then you can Geomancy up. The HP and defense is wrong. I didn't go with this, and it keeps on correcting it. I went with this. So 101 HP subs, 4 subs I could make, and this HP spread would let me live a +1 Zekrom without Life Orb, I believe? Yes. So Air Balloon Zekrom, which I can't deal with Necrozma, I can live one hit with Xerneas and kill it. If I don't see Air Balloon, I kind of have to hope that it's not Magnet Rise, but there's a Zekrom said that was 6-0 every team. So there's a limit as to how much you can realistically deal with Zekrom defensively. And now the Kyogre spread, 101 HP subs. The defense was for Groudon in general, but more specifically it was so that Scald, if it burnt a Yveltal's 0 attack or 8 attack knockoff would never break my Kyogre's sub. A very situational thing, but yeah, more... The more chances I had to sub up with Kyogre, the better. And the more chances I had for Kyogre's sub to not get broken, the better. The speed creep is for generally most offensive Groudons at the time that weren't on HO teams. I felt like just running this much speed, I would probably be able to just outrun them to shore up the Groudon matchup, because of course Groudon is just an issue. This was before the bulk up set started taking off, by the way, that's why I felt like Foul Play Yveltal could deal with it as my first option. But yeah, so I felt pretty confident going in that Sub-Carmine Raw Kyogre would actually do bits, because I brought it in a lot of test games versus a lot of people, and it was doing a lot of work, essentially. Especially with the Thunderwave support from Ho-Oh and Aromatherapy support from Xerneas. So that is the background to the game, that's the team I brought, so let's go into the actual game itself. And Rayhey has brought basically the sort of style that I was expecting. I was surprised to see the Giratina O, because I don't really feel like Giratina O was that good, but it is a pretty good Groudon check, and generally it's pretty alright. But I'm looking at this team, and I'm thinking his only plausible Kyogre answer is his Eternatus. He doesn't have another one. So that Eternatus has to be, realistically, Cosmic Power or Dragon Tail to avoid being trapped and beaten by Block Kyogre. What can I do with that? Well, I can I can avoid the detail breaking my sub. Like, I have physical defense investment, and with the SPDF investment, which I didn't talk about, and I'm sorry for that. So the SPDF investment with this calm nature is so that Sludge Bomb has a very, very low chance of breaking Kyogre's initial substitute. And more relevantly, it was for +1 Kyogre's substitute couldn't be broken by a Life Orb Dynamax Cannon from Eternatus, if I'm not misremembering the calc, and I'm not running the calcs again. it's been too long for me to do that. Because Life Orb Eternatus was a bit of an issue, so I thought Calm Mind up, and then +1 Dynamax Cannon doesn't break the sub, and I should be fine. +1 Kyogre's defense. You get what I mean. So, turn 1, I see this, and I think I can try and spread paralysis with Ho-Oh and then just bring in my Kyogre, and... and so that's what I do. So, Ho-Oh versus Ho-Oh, I win a potential speed tie. I do have a little bit of creep over what is relatively standard, but generally this tells me that, yeah, okay, my Kyogre is faster than his Ho-Oh, I've spread a paralysis, I'm just going to go into my Kyogre initially. If he T-Waves me, so what? I have got Aromatherapy on Xerneas, and then he goes into his Eternatus, I sub up, and I click Calm Mind here, as he Sludge Bombs. Sludge Bomb doesn't break the sub. It was a roll heavily in my favour, but if he was Life Orb, it was guaranteed, so I just wanted to get the Scald off. He Sludge Bombs again as I sub, and here I start to think, well, I can just Calm Mind pretty comfortably. I actually thought I Calm Minded first, I'm not going to lie. I'd forgotten the reasoning for not doing that. So he Sludge Bombs again as I can sub. I'm running the calcs and seeing that if I Calm Mind again, I can... my substitute probably doesn't break from the next Sludge Bomb. No, I'm not. It's been a while since this replay happened, I apologise. So I'm running the calcs and I'm seeing when I can expect my sub to survive 2 Sludge Bombs, basically. And now I can, because I'm Calm Minding again here, and I'm Calm Minding again the following turn, and then I'm clicking sub again. And he's running quickly out of Sludge Bomb PP as well. And yeah, he recovers as I sub. It doesn't change my move because I just sub again right here as he flamethrowers. And I'm not wanting to be in the situation where my sub is broken and I'm against a Eternatus that can just go for the Sludge Bomb poison. So I Calm Mind again on the Dragon Tail, which is relevant because it means that he can guarantee that he's going to be... my sub will be broken in front of him, basically, because he's got the negative priority move. I'm at +5, so if he wanted to go for the Dragon Tail there, then he could have and broken the sub, expecting my Calm Mind, basically, but at this point I just think I'm pretty solid just attacking. I'm not out of PP yet, and I can always just Calm Mind again. And I think I Calm Mind this turn? Yes. And at this point, I don't really feel like there's anything he can do, because Sludge Bomb breaks my sub. I was expecting a Dragon Tail there, so maybe I should have substituted, but he goes for Sludge Bomb, does 7%, I avoid the poison, and I just get another sub off. And I'm now out-damaging his recovers, and he doesn't have the PP to spill me out. I've got 12 left, which is 6 against the Eternatus, but Eternatus goes down right here to the burn damage. And then my Kyogre OHKOs everything. Yveltal breaks the sub, obviously it is faster than me, which was not guaranteed, but it didn't matter at this point, and Rayhey forfeits. So week 1 went pretty well for me, or week 4 for my team at least. I was really pleased with this Kyogre set because until like the last week of UPL, I don't think anyone else ran raw Kyogre, because I genuinely do think it's a very good anti-meta pick. So I was pleased with that. People have started putting it now though, so yeah. The next week was against the Durians, my old team, against Rimsib B. And I'm gonna have to avoid pronouncing that because I think I say it differently every time. This game, I really had no clue as to what to expect. This was the week that Zacian got banned, and we decided collectively as a community that we would just implement the Zacian ban immediately rather than having another week of the meta being Zacian, because that just makes no sense. We've just voted to ban it, why would we keep it around for a week? And I was struggling, like, I didn't like the feel of anything. So what happened was, Nora used a team against... I don't even remember who it was against. Nora used the team and I used the 6, and I changed up a couple tiny things, like I made Groudon's Sword Stance rather than Bulk Up, because I thought that on a T-Wave set, Sword Stance would be better. I didn't think Bulk Up was better on the Sword Stance, With T-Wave, I felt like Bulk Up would be not as good as if Bulk Up was paired with Rest, or with Substitute, is what I'm trying to say. I'm failing to say it, but that is what I'm trying to say. The other sets, the Demon Zygarde, just trapping any potential, like, balance stall matchup if I get it in on the right turn. Again, Cosmic Power, Meteor Beam, Eternatus just gives me another Wincon that I liked. Clefable to deal with Yveltals, and Yveltal because Calyrex is a fucking monster. I do have Snarl because Subseed was something that I'd lost to in a couple of tests, and like the team has no Subseed answer aside from Snarl Yveltal. Like there's no U-turn into a faster mon or anything. So yeah, this is a bit of a weird team. I do like Clefable a lot in the meta, just because like anything that hard blanks a Yveltal at the moment is just very good, because Yveltal is essentially forced onto every team. And it frees up the rock slots so that Necrozma... I went with knockoff Sunsteel Strike Morning Sun T-Wave. If I was building this again, I might have gone Dragon Dance on Necrozma, because it does have the freedom from the Rocks Rocks Clefable to not need to run a supportive set, and I don't really think that knockoff Sunsteel Strike Morning Sun T-Wave was going to accomplish anything for me. I think if I make this Spadef with Dragon Dance, I just generally do a bit better against like the meta as a whole, because I feel like then again, on this team I already had 3 potential setup sweeping Wincons, so support sets aren't bad. This is just a personal taste thing. I just didn't... Looking back on it, I don't think it does that much. It's still, I think it's a pretty good team to match up against the general meta, but its hyper offense matchup is a bit rough. This will beat almost every balanced team it encounters. It's just that against offense you're going to be overrun because you can't really get momentum very well. You've got several passive ones. So naturally Rimsib brings HO with Shuckle Mewtwo. And I load into this game and I'm immediately thinking, I fucking lose. I have nothing. The Mewtwo OHKOs everything at +2. And even ignoring the Mewtwo, my Groudon matchup is suspect. My offensive Necrozma matchup is not ideal, and at least I've got a hard blank to Yveltal as long as it's physical. If it's special, then Oblivion Wing's gonna chunk at Clefable, and it's not like Clefable's gonna OHKO Yveltal. So yeah, I was not feeling very confident in this matchup at all. I lead Necrozma, I go for Sunsteel Strike as I get red carded out. I do prefer Mental Herb on Shuckle personally, just so you can't get taunted, but red card's fine, nothing wrong with it. Stone Edge narrowly avoids being a kill, he locks me into it, so at least the Shuckle does go down for essentially, what, 1 PP of Stone Edge? That's not that big of a deal. I was forced out by Xerneas anyway, because Groudon's defensive niche is too important to risk here, especially when I have got the specially defensive Necrozma as well. I go for Sunsteel Strike initially. I think I should have Thunder Waved and Morning Sunned, but it is what it is at this point. He misses Focus Blast. That wouldn't have killed me, but it would have meant that my Necrozma would have been very low. But he brings in his Groudon here, and I just go straight for the knockoff, because if this is Life Orb, because my Yveltal is so slow and it doesn't have Foul Play, I just lose to it. It turns out it's Lumberry, which was nice. and I just go for Sunsteel Strike because I don't have another option realistically. I now know at least that my Groudon will live a hit from him, because Groudon's fat defensively and no Life Orb means that I live that. But with the Life Orb I did die there, and I'm just going to explain a little bit there, because at any point, if I got that sequence wrong versus Groudon, I lost. If Necrozma switches out and Eternatus goes down, as Groudon clicks Swords Dance and ends up at +4 attack, +2 speed, I lose instantly unless I dodge. Necrozma, it kind of checks Shuckle, it kind of checks his Necrozma Duskmane, but it doesn't do either of those jobs very well, especially with Fire Blast Mewtwo as well. So I don't feel like I can afford to risk it, because if he plays aggressively and I get those turns wrong, I lose. I lose instantly. Yveltal comes in and knocks me off, and I am relieved as fuck to see that knockoff hit, because that means it isn't special. And special would have just been a lost matchup. I don't think there was anything else I could have done. Clefable comes in as I get taunted. I go for Moonblast, kind of expecting the taunt, but rocks weren't going to help me there. And I couldn't Aromatherapy obviously, and there was no point to Moonblast, not Moonblast, Soft Boiled, so why would I? He does catch me with the Mewtwo here. I'm fearing Nasty Plot's Mewtwo at this moment, and I considered going into Eternatus. Like, you can see I thought about it for about a minute. I considered going into Eternatus, but if he Ice Beams out of fear of, like, a glare from Zygarde or something, because Ice Beam will always kill Zygarde. I'm not the big form yet. Ice Beam doesn't kill Eternatus. It doesn't come close to killing Eternatus. But my Eternatus is Dragon Pulse, Meteor Beam, Cosmic Power, Recover with 0 special attack. My Dragon Pulse to his Mewtwo does nothing. I think it does somewhere around 40%. So he reveals himself here to be Life Orb, because he should be on his team, to be honest. And he would be able to calc and see that I am a fully Spadef Eternatus, and he could probably see a Nasty Plot line in that situation, and then +2 Mewtwo just kills everything. And there's nothing I can do. And even if he calcs and sees that Eternatus is Spadef and thinks it's Dynamax Cannon, that still gives him 4 turns, where he can just click Ice Beam and probably kill everything on my team. So I do feel like I need to go Yveltal initially, possibly bluff a Sucker Punch, and get him to get the Mewtwo out of there, or bluff a Scarf or something. He does attack me with Ice Beam. That damage reveals to him that I am max Spadef. And here, he goes for Ice Beam again. I'm hoping that I don't get the roll, as in that I live, which is, it's not a very favourable roll. I think it's 56% chance Mewtwo has to kill from full after 2 attacks, but it's a very, like, iffy situation. And on this turn, I actually roosted, because I thought, if he's scared out by Sucker Punch and he goes into Yveltal, I don't want to be in a situation where Mewtwo comes in again and just claims a kill. So, he gets the roll, Yveltal goes down. Mewtwo is in a situation where the only thing it doesn't kill is Clefable. And he switches out here. In the moment, I had no idea why he switched out there. I thought that he would just Nasty Plot and proceed to win, and that my out was the special attack drop from Moonblast. I've since realised he was fearing me to be Thunder Wave Clefable, and that does change the outcome of the game quite significantly, because a paralysed Mewtwo is nowhere near as threatening to me, because my Eternatus suddenly deals with it, and my Zygarde doesn't deal with it, but like it probably outspeeds it. Because if I'm running an offensive variant, which I'm not, but from his perspective, if I'm running an offensive variant, then that's a big issue. So it comes down to him trying to get the Mewtwo in for free. He was scouting for Thunder Wave there, because Necrozma is the thing that he minds being paralysed least. And here, he's just threatening to kill me with a Sunsteel Strike, so Zygarde's the expected switch. So I just go for a Moonblast, trying to catch him on the Mewtwo switch, and I get it right. I don't get the special attack drop, and I just decide, you know what, I'll go for it again. and I thankfully get the roll that puts Mewtwo in range of Life Orb, so I can just freely sack Eternatus and let Zygarde Clefable try and win the match. Here I thought that he'd probably go into his Necrozma first to force out my Clefable. He goes into Yveltal first. Because I've seen that it's knockoff taunt, that's fine. I can just go into Clefable pretty comfortably. And I can feel free to Moonblast right away, because I know that my Coil Zygarde should be able to deal with almost any Necrozma he can be. If he's Dragon Dance, but if he was Swords Dance, I could probably Coil up once, get my big thing, and then proceed to... because, look, +1 did that much, +2 would therefore be a roll to kill, and therefore +1 defense Zygarde like this does not take nearly as much, and I can kill with 1000 Waves. And I think that's what I do right here, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So, yeah. Looking at it now, I think that was more of a roll, but, like, I had a bad matchup. I kind of had to just hope that I got the roll. And here I'm thinking, Taunt Roost Yveltal, if it's got enough Spadef investment, it might be able to beat my Clefable 1v1. So I'm just going to make my Zygarde outspeed this Yveltal, and then I'm going to rest and avoid any issues. He goes for Sucker Punch there. I didn't want to be in a situation where he could taunt and out-recover my Clefable's Moonblast. It turns out that that was never an issue, and I was just being a bit of an idiot about it, but yeah, I'm thinking that Zygarde is a more comfortable way to win the game, basically. As he taunts me, but now I'm +2 attack, so 1000 Waves is doing... not 1000 Waves, Scale Shot's doing a fair chunk. And I think he kills me this next turn, but no, he doesn't. Okay. Scale Shot does not kill, but 2 hits will kill now, so he goes for Sucker Punch. I'm taunted, but I feel pretty confident that I can probably avoid being out-recovered, and Moonblast thankfully does do more than 55%. 57 actually. So yeah. I say GG here because previously, as I said, I didn't know how much Spadef his Yveltal was running, and I didn't know if Moonblast could be stalled out by Roost. It couldn't, but yeah. We end up 2-0 against because of the Durian's victory, and geez, that was painful. That was a hard matchup, and I did not like playing that at all. I'm glad I won, but my prep was really quite off this week, I feel. And I just didn't really get the meta, is the big problem I had. The following week, I'm up against Base Burner, and I'm thinking, right, I didn't really like it last week, but I feel pretty confident in this team. This is a pretty fat balance. I went with Spadef Ferrothorn to shore up my Kyogre matchup. Fizdef is probably better because I do have a fully Spadef Necrozma Duskmane, and like I'm a bit weaker to Zekrom because of it. I go with Calm Mind Raw Kyogre again. 120 defense, and this much speed is stupid. You should never run this much speed. Originally, this Kyogre spread was the exact same as this Kyogre spread, but because I dropped Substitute, I thought, well, there's no reason for me to have those Spadef FUDs now, because I'm now Rest, so I don't need them. I'm still Raw because in a balanced matchup I'm pretty confident that Raw Kyogre with Spikes and Stealth Rock support is incredible in the balanced matchup. I think that it's almost unlosable if you play it right. Scald, just get burns, get more passive damage. Yeah. Now, the speed was literally a last minute thing, so as a reminder, I went from, what is that, like 114? 116? 116. I went from 116 speed to 136 speed with a timid nature. And that actually becomes relevant because I was feeling pretty confident, but then I thought, Groudon matchup's a little bit sus again. I don't like it. So I'm just going to make my Kyogre speedy and just say fuck it. Why do I have the Spadef? I have fully Spadef Necrozma and fully Spadef Ferrothorn. I'm fine. I'm Curse with knockoff, by the way, because, again, the point of the team is Hazard Stack into Raw Kyogre. So I want to knock off anything like a Ho-Oh or a Yveltal or anything that would run heavy-duty boots, I want it knocked off so that my raw Kyogre can really rack up a lot of chip damage every time it comes in. And then the remainder of the slots were just kind of shoring up bad matchups. So Yveltal is there because Foul Play will deal with most Groudons. Knockoff is just generally great utility, especially because of the point of the team being Hazard Stack into raw Kyogre to try and win games. And yeah, Foul Play, Groudon, Swords Dance is just a good general answer. Defog because I don't want to have to deal with hazards on my side of the field if possible. And yeah, so after that, Eternatus I'll go to first. I went with Spadef with Dynamax Cannon, Flamethrower, Toxic. Block Kyogre hadn't really been seeing any usage, and Rest Kyogre, like, I have my own Kyogre for that. So I'm more afraid of choiced Kyogres, and opposing opposing Yveltals are an issue for me. So I wanted to go with something that would outspeed them. I also wanted to outspeed Marshadow because, geez, that thing is threatening as fuck to this sort of build. And I went with this. Without this, the Specs Kyogre matchup is dog shit. Like, I really struggle with the Specs Kyogre matchup without this thing. Even with the Ferrothorn and the Spadef Kyogre, because Specs Kyogre is just that strong. If it gets the right move, and like Water Spout is a 2 KO on I think all of them, at least this way I'm stalling it out of like half or more of its PP. So yeah, Speed Creep for the Marshadow, Toxic for general utility, and then a Scarf Calyrex because I was weak to HO last week and I don't want to be weak to HO again, and this team is very weak to HO without a Scarf Calyrex. Calyrex with the Scarf just holds opposing HO in a huge team building strain. Like, I can't afford to go modest with my Scarf because otherwise the Web's HO matchup is just dire. But with timid Scarf Calyrex, the Web's HO really hates me. So I'm feeling pretty okay about this team. I actually feel like this is probably the best team that I built this UPL. I built this one by myself, by the way. Like, with the Clefable team, I kind of Nora gave me that and I edited it. And with the following teams I used, I got help in building them. But this is one that I built myself, and I'm actually I think it's pretty good, in all honesty. Like, it's not a sample or anything stupid like that, but I feel like with this team, you're not going to run into an unlosable matchup, and you're probably going to be okay. Even Calyrex Ice, you've got physically defensive Kyogre and an Necrozma Duskmane to mostly deal with it. So I'm against Base Burner, and his Scout is a bit weird. He's used Groudon twice, and that's the big reason that I changed the Kyogre spread, is that he's brought Double Dance Groudon in, I think, both of his games this UPL, or if not both, 2 of his 3. I can't remember if he was 2 or 3 games at this point. So I'm really expecting Groudon here, because it's just really good, in general. And they as a team know that. They've been using a lot of Groudon, and it's just something that I have to be respectful of. So that's why I ended up making the change to make my offensive Groudon matchup a bit better with Kyogre. And I load into the team and see HO with a Groudon and Screen support. Screens is the one archetype that can kind of deal-ish with Calyrex without a Yveltal, because you get to set up the light screen and then deal with it with your dark type, but it's not ideal. And he's correctly identified this. He's got the Marshadow on the team, he's got the Xerneas, he's got presumably a Groudon that can live a Scarf Astral Barrage from full. He's obviously going to lead with Aerodactyl, obviously. And I'm thinking, okay, I just lead with my Kyogre, and I try and get the burn. And I try and get the burn no matter what I'm against, initially. Because my Kyogre's raw, so it kind of is actually really useful here. Because if he goes into... let's say he goes into Grimmsnarl, and I burn it, and then he goes into Xerneas afterwards, because he wouldn't want to just sack the Grimmsnarl, then I can probably just raw and waste the Power Herb. So, yeah. He leads Aerodactyl. I go for Scald. I don't get the first Scald burn. He taunts me because of the sub stuff from the previous from the previous game, basically. Taunt made sense, because if I get a sub up, if I start getting Calm Mind, this becomes a big issue for him because he can't get the momentum back from me very easily. I don't get the burn here, and I make a big misplay. I go into my Yveltal just trying to get rid of the screens because I expect him to go for Reflect there. That's just a bad misplay on my end. I was overvaluing having rocks off of my side of the field, and I just end up, my Yveltal goes down for no reason, and that's my Groudon check kind of gone. He taunts my Necrozma and gets the Reflect up. He's actually going to be able to get both screens up because I'm Iron Head instead of Sunsteel Strike. I don't think Sunsteel Strike would have actually killed there, just based on those damage rolls, but it's a bit annoying to be in that sort of situation. I go into my Kyogre here as he goes for SD with his Groudon. This is Double Dance Groudon every day of the week, and the speed comes in clutch because I can outspeed and get a huge hit off with my Scald, and Calyrex Shadow comes in and I get Astral Barrage, and this was a roll. I can't pretend that I didn't get a little bit lucky here, but I'm going to explain why I don't actually think that this luck was as bad as some people would think it is. So let's just let's go into the calc and get an SS, so I know I'm not talking out of my arsehole. Scarf Calyrex versus Groudon, and I know what spread he was because he revealed it to me after the game. He was not 100 HP, he was 88. Astral Barrage through Light Screen, does 35.2 to 41.5. He's probably at around 40.5, and at 88 HP, that means I have essentially a 3 in 16 chance to get this roll, which isn't great. That's not good odds. However, the Kyogre beforehand, which had 0 special attack, obviously, I got a rather middling roll there, and I didn't get either of the relevant burns that would have meant that my Yveltal would have been alive in this situation. Because if I burn the Grimmsnarl, my Yveltal literally comes in on it and defogs every time for free, and I don't even worry about play rough. And if I get the burn on Aerodactyl on turn 1, I don't bring in Yveltal because I don't have to get rid of rocks because I'm not paranoid about that chip damage. So I did get a little bit lucky with this roll. 3 out of 16 it's not like a crit or anything, and there was also crits and Precipice Blade misses to account for, so I don't think that this turn is as unlucky. But, well, the turn itself is unlucky. I don't think that as a whole this game I got that lucky, so yeah. I get the roll there, and it dies, and it forces in the Mars Shadow, which it actually goes into Xerneas because the light screen is still up because I am a fool. He goes for Geomancy here. I am fully Spadef Necrozma Dust main. I will almost never die to 2 Thunders, and the roll he got, I will never die to this Thunder. If he hits Thunder through Paralysis, I'd never die there. I'm Morning Sun up to get rid of the Reflect because there's no point in attacking there. He gets paralyzed there, that's unfortunate. I go for another Iron Head here just to kill it because I'm at full. This is the most health I'll ever be at. I don't think I've got that lucky in the paralysis stuff either, because I'm just always going to Morning Sun back up to as close to full as possible. And the only real situation where that's punished is if he hits Thunder through paralysis out of rain and gets a paralysis or a crit off on me. So I don't think that that's that relevant. It's unfortunate for him, but at that point, paralyzed, it's Xerneas. After the first Iron Head, it also probably dies to Calyrex's Psyshock. I might have just made a pincer movement with my fingers, by the way. So yeah. He goes into Mars Shadow now. Just gonna set up on my forced switch into Eternatus. I'm not physically defensive, and I'm not an item removing thing like Citrus Berry or Air Balloon or anything, so he can Poltergeist there. I should have paused for that turn, my apologies. The damage I do, let's go back one turn. So this damage tells me, well, it doesn't tell me anything, it's always going to be the same Mars Shadow spread. But that puts him in range of Life Orb, plus Life Orb plus Iron Barbs. So I think he's going to expect me to switch into my Ferrothorn and click Poltergeist so as to avoid taking any of the recoil so he can get more kills. If the Eternatus goes down, that's fine. I can go into Calyrex and force him into clicking Shadow Sneak, or anything and force him into clicking Shadow Sneak, because so long as the Marsh Shadow dies, I'm alright, I'm fine. I could even just go into Ferrothorn initially, and probably just click Knockoff, and force it to kill itself on my Iron Barbs. Maybe not Knockoff, maybe, did I have Leech? I don't remember if I had Leech. Yeah, Leech would have been better there rather than Knockoff, in case for some reason he was able to live Knockoff plus Life Orb Recoil, because then that would just be a choke. So Leech Seed would have been better there. But it doesn't matter, because I'm expecting him to know that he can't take those hits, I'm expecting him to not just make the obvious move, because if I switch into my Ferrothorn on a Shadow Sneak, he loses his Marsh Shadow for literally nothing. There's no point in that. So I go for the Dynamax Cannon as he stays in, because what's the Eternatus doing versus a last one Calyrex Ice? Like, I'm foddering it or I'm toxicking it. And I go for Dynamax Cannon, I get that turn right, and the Marsh Shadow goes down. I can Toxic here, and it reveals Agility. If it was Trick Room there, he would have 4 turns, so I would then go hard into my Ferrothorn. If he SDs, he doesn't have the turns. Between Toxic and the Leech Seed of the next turn, if he tries to SD again, he doesn't have the turns to kill me before Calyrex comes in and kills him with Astral Barrage afterwards. And aside from that, Ferrothorn lives 1 hit from full, so I'm always going to be in the position where Toxic will put him into range of Scarf Calyrex. He goes for Agility there. He's going to go for another Agility, because he recognizes that I'm Scarf Calyrex because I have to be. And I here go into Ferrothorn, and we get to see the height horsepower does almost nothing to me. And between that and Toxic damage, I'm just going to be able to survive the Arceus. Not the Arceus, the Calyrex. And yeah, ends up in another victory, which was very pleasant, because at this point I'm 3-0 and I'm feeling pretty good about myself because I like it. And like I said, I actually felt really confident about this team in general. I was considering reusing it later on in UPL as well, because I just generally do feel like it's a very good team. It's a very solid, well-rounded team. Yeah, a little bit of luck. I can't deny that I did get lucky with the Groudon roll, because without the Groudon roll with my Calyrex, I was just in a really rough spot then. I would have to go into Eternatus and Dynamax Cannon, and then he could go into his Calyrex, and it would just be a very tricky situation for me, because Ferrothorn is obviously not ideal in this situation. Apparently he was Aromatherapy, so Curse Ferrothorn might have been okay, but I would have gone to Cosmo first, probably, actually, and it's just never a comfortable situation for you to be in. So, yeah, Ferrothorn, the MVP. Raw Kyogre did not click Raw this game either, so despite using Raw Kyogre in Week 4, I never actually clicked Raw with my Kyogre once this entire UPL. Week 7, it's a must-win week, and I'm up against FC. And FC is basically a guaranteed Ubers player for the upcoming SCL draft. He's a really, really good player. He's definitely the favourite, there's no doubt about that. And I'm wanting to build something a little bit different from the same 4 mons, basically. Because I have brought Eternatus, NDM, Yveltal, I think, every week. Which is, it's hard to punish, obviously. But I've also brought Kyogre 2 weeks, and like, I've been praising Kyogre, and like, I don't want to bring very Kyogre-centered stuff, basically. So I decided to bring Zarude, because Zarude is a bit memey, but it's pretty good at being a Calyrex check that avoids the Yveltal punishing Calyrex sets. So it avoids being cucked by Subseed, it avoids being difficult to deal with that way. And I have Ho-Oh for extra insurance against both Xerneas and Calyrex that are getting out of hand because Zarude is a bit... I should also say, shoutouts to Manaphy with this team. I had a spell tag Marshadow with Bulk Up instead of Ironhead. He helped me test when no one else was around and just was able to give me a hand with this. So I do appreciate it. These are mostly... This is mostly my team, but he fixed up a couple of the sets to try and like be helpful. Because like I needed the help at this point because I was terrified because FC is fucking threatening. There's a log somewhere of me saying to FC, "I am a coward, I'm joining," and that sums up my mood going into this game because like FC's a really good player. The idea of this team is that Banned Marshadow plus Zekrom should be able to deal well with a lot of sort of more balanced structures. I have Ironhead for defensive Xerneas, which are popping off everywhere at the moment with Air Balloon, which is also why I have Spectral Thief instead of Poltergeist. Zekrom is sub DD because he's brought stuff that he has brought has been very punishable by sub DD Zekrom, and I didn't expect to see something that wouldn't be punished by this. I wasn't expecting to see a Ferrothorn or a Bulk Up Groudon, basically. And even if I see a Bulk Up Groudon, I have Zarude, which deals very well with Bulk Up Groudon. Duskmane is pretty good. I don't think it was Synthesis, was it? No, I changed this afterwards because I realised that Synthesis is just a bit better. I don't know. I might have been Synthesis, I might have been Jungle Healing. I don't remember. We'll find out, because I'm certain I played the healing move in the game at some point. Ho-Oh is offensive with T-Wave. It's just very nice to have. Again, the insurance against the Calyrexes and the Xerneases are just lovely. I'm T-Wave Ironhead because at this point I'm thinking, hey, I can try and hack him, because like Paraflinch is just broken. And I'm Rest Talk Rem Therapy Xerneas Air Balloon because opposing Marshadow fucks me really badly. Yeah, and I've got the speed because if he brought a Dracovish, Fodasse Xerneas. Like, I kind of got OHKO'd by everything, not by everything. It kind of gets an OHKO on anything. So yeah. FC brought, I'm on the wrong side, FC brought a Ferrothorn and a Zygarde. And that was really annoying because I was told, Scout FC, see which one he uses more, Zygarde or Xerneas, and he used more Zygarde, but I just felt like Xerneas was more likely, so I made it Ironhead instead of Ice Punch. And that is entirely on me, that's just a failure on my end. I can only take responsibility for that. I'm not going to be doing a turn-by-turn playthrough of this entire thing. I'm going to be putting this thing on fucking fast music off, and I'm just going to be talking about it in the generals of the matchup as opposed to the specifics. I go for Thunderwave, hoping basically that he is an idiot and goes into Eternatus first. I am jungle healing on this route, I'm pretty sure at this point. I just have changed my mind since to make Synthesis better. I get turn 4 right and getting the Darkest Lariat off on the Marshadow because I knew he wasn't going to close combat me there when I've got a Xerneas. And yeah, because Marshadow is just annoying for my team to deal with because I'm not physically defensive Ho-Oh. I try and get the burn on the Zygarde here because there's a possibility that it's not rest. He goes for the coil and the chances of not being rest are very low at this stage. And I'm now in the situation where I'm going to lose the long-term game here. He has Body Press, that means he has Iron Defense. I go for Darkest Lariat here. It does a hefty chunk to the Eternatus, so fair play, but it doesn't do nearly enough because Eternatus doesn't always just recover that off. I need the Eternatus paralyzed, I need to heal my own status, and there's a lot of things working against a potential Zarude sweep here. The Eternatus is the big one, and I'm honestly kind of amazed he risked that Thunderwave there because he didn't have the Cleric. I knew he was going to go Zygarde on the second turn because, obviously, but if he got the Eternatus burnt, it just ruined any even vague threat of Zarude. So I can't sugarcoat that or pretend anything else. He goes Yveltal because Yveltal's U-turn is just going to force out my Zarude very comfortably, and I go Xerneas trying to catch, like, the turns play themselves out mostly as you'd expect. Zygarde becomes big here, and with that my chances of even like critting my way through it are almost nil. I go Zekrom to try and punish Arrest by clicking, I don't even remember what I clicked at this point. I clicked Dragon Dance, but I'm panicking here because I think, okay, there's a possibility that he's not Iron Defense and he's just Body Press. I can go for that, and he clicks Iron Defense, and that's very bad for me. I decide not to waste my fucking PP, because I need to go into Ho-Oh, waste his PP with his Ferrothorn, maybe, and, like, threaten with burns and stuff, but it's not likely. And I am Synthesis, of course I'm Synthesis on this team, because I'm Aromatherapy Xerneas, I don't need to be status immune. I have such little faith in me that I think that I'm the bad set, even when I'm not the bad set. Go Marshadow to try and just like force the issue. This is bouncing off that Zygarde. That Zygarde can just stay in and click the rest on me every single time. You can see my timer gets really low here, as I'm starting to think, what is my actual win con here? How can I try and win? And at this point, I'm going for, I can PP stall to try and win by removing all of the Ferrothorn and the Eternatus' PP. And he's catching me as well, because like if he gets his Zygarde paralyzed, that's really big for my Zarude. And it's just not what he wants to be in. It's not the situation he wants to be in at all. My Brave Birds from my Adamant Ho-Oh are bouncing off of this Zygarde. It's doing nothing. So I'm in a horrific situation here. He can just freely glare. He's never going to be punished by glaring, because all it means is that he gets the opportunity to like have my Xerneas not move and him take advantage of it. But like he's not threatened by the idea of Xerneas not being fully paralyzed there, because he's got the Spadef Necrozma and he can always just set rocks on me. And because I only have the one Defogger, I can't really do that much. I decide to go for the Paralysis here on the Ferrothorn, just because, like, there's no point in playing out the exact same situation over and over and over again. Like, I'm just going to lose that way. But that actually becomes kind of important later on. I can go into my Xerneas here. It's always going to beat the Zygarde, so it's going to threaten it out, because he can't let Zygarde go down. The Zygarde ever going down just opens up my team to an unbelievable degree. I clicked Sleep Talk there, just hoping to get the aromatherapy, just heal off all my status and just have a better time of it. I'm not going to waste my own Stealth Rock PP, and yeah, you might have noticed, you might not, depending on how familiar you are with Ubers, but I'm getting beaten up. Like, I am not even close to being in this game. As he goes into Yveltal and U-turns on me, that doesn't do much, so he can go to Eternatus here. I do click Synthesis. I was Synthesis, okay. And Necrozma comes in, Flamethrower. That doesn't actually do that much to Zarude, but 8 Synthesis PP makes that a really annoying issue. And yeah. At this point in my head, I'm going, I've lost. I can't believe that Carmine Kyogre once again had a really good matchup, though. Ugh, why didn't I bring that? And I'm just continually, like, beating myself up in my own head, because I feel like I've cost my team, because at this point we're also 3-0 down, and in a bad state, so I'm just really thinking, I've lost this, I've thrown this for the entire team, we're going to be 0-4, and then we won't be able to make playoffs very likely at least. And I'm still, like, thinking about trying to go for potentially a Zarude sweep. There is something later on that does convince me that that is literally going to be impossible. But at this point I'm still thinking, okay, best case scenario, like, maybe I can do it this way, because Zygarde I can beat 1v1, and if I'm paralyzed, yeah, I'll be able to be okay as long as I do this, and this, and like I can PP stall this way and this way. But I'm just getting beaten up here. He's got all the momentum, I'm reacting to everything he's doing, and he's getting me. When I'm trying to expect him to go into his Eternatus to burn off a defog PP, I'm trying to catch him with the Thunder Wave, and it's not working. He's beating me down, and he's going to win this long term. I go for Sacred Fire there, that's just a misplay. At this point, I'm tilted. Like, I don't have much options, I feel. So, what's the point? Here, I'm going to go for Bolt Strike, just trying to see, with full powers and stuff, is there any way for, like, Zekrom to break through Ferrothorn? It does net 15%. He Iron Defenses, and I've done net 9% for that. It's just untenable position. And I'm still thinking maybe with Flamethrower PP and, like, dealing with the Yveltal somehow, my Zarude can pull a miracle off. And, like, I can try and force the issue. And that's what I'm doing right here, by the way. I'm forcing the Eternatus to try and use its recovers, so that Bulk Up might be able to break through. But that's not a good situation to have to force yourself to be in. I go for Moonblast here. I just expect him to predict me to not stay in, so I can force up another recover, basically. But again, nope, okay. I thought that something happened that turn that didn't happen because I thought I was more desperate than I was. I Darkest Lariat here. Again, I'm literally trying to waste this Eternatus' recover PP to try and potentially win with my Zarude at this point, because I don't see another out, realistically. And Zekrom comes in to absorb the glare, because I'm just absolutely certain he's going for glare. I can't stay in, he knows this, but he goes for 1,000 arrows because, like, he doesn't risk anything by me doing that either. And here, again, like, I'm going to try and force the issue with Necrozma in terms of using up its Moonlights. It's now used 1 in 111 turns, and I'm still trying to catch the Eternatus on the defog, like an overplay, but it's not happening, and he knows what I'm trying to do now. He's never going to risk that, most likely, because between Stealth Rock and Spikes, he's got enough PP anyway. I'm still, like, maybe thinking Zarude here, but I want to see how much +1 Bolt Strike does. Nowhere near enough. It does, like, 34. After, like, Leech Seed and everything, he's back up at 90 again. And, yeah, I just defog on the glare. I'm still getting paralyzed, I'm still getting dunked on in every which way. He goes to Yveltal as I bulk up this time, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's not that bad, as he taunts, and that just completely shuts down the idea of a Zarude sweep as well. And he even knocks off my leftovers as I try and catch him on a roost, trying to get more damage off, but at this point I'm thinking, I have literally no chance, I have lost, there is nothing I can do. I reopen Discord at this point, and I say to my team, I'm sorry guys, I don't think there's anything I can do. Just in case anyone's, like, worried about Ghost or anything, I literally said that and then closed Discord, because, like, I'm just thinking, I just need to apologize. I'm going to drag it out and try and, like, see if there's a way I can think of haxing, and I think literally turn 133, 134, I see my out, I see my potential, but it's not a great potential, and it's this turn right here. No, it isn't. Now it's this turn. Okay, this is actually... Okay, pause. 133, my shadow goes down, and I open Discord and say, I'm sorry, I don't think I got away. And then I close Discord and I think, what have I got to do to try and win this game? I've got to go for the para hacks I've got on the Ferrothorn working in my favour. I've got to go for sub DD, and I've got to get myself a crit at the point where Zekrom will be able to kill. I go for a bit of chip there, and I think this is the point where I actually realize, hold on, I've got the para, I could actually do this. And then I sub. And then I DD. As he gets full paras. And then I DD. As he gets fully paralyzed. No, he breaks his up this time. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just going to DD again, because, again, like, my win con at this point is hacks. Because para hacks is basically it. I go for Bolt Strike. It's doing fucking nothing as he goes for Body Press. I'm going to go for sub because, of course I am, because, like, There's the chance that I could get lucky enough... Oh, never mind. There's a chance I could get lucky enough that body press PP would be worn out or something. Not very high chance, but a chance. As I crit the Bolt Strike. That's why I danced up to +4, because crit at +4 would kill the Ferrothorn, whereas nothing else would. And you can literally see... Oops. You can literally see in the chat, I say, sorry, I had to go for it, I couldn't see any other shot. Because, of course, like, I had no other chance, I don't think. And then Necrozma comes out, and I'm thinking, okay, I can just Dragon Claw. I've got the sub up, even if he can break the sub, which he hasn't shown the ability to yet. He's probably got knockoff there, so he probably can. But he hasn't shown the ability to break the sub yet, so I can just Dragon Claw. It's a 2-hit KO from there anyway, and if he's trying to waste my Bolt Strike PP, which he was with Zekrom, with Zygarde even, then this at least catches that, as I Dragon Claw, and he forfeits. And this win felt shit. Like, I did not want to Hax FC. FC is such a nice dude, man. That felt really bad. It gave my team the platform to try and get into playoffs, and we did actually get into playoffs, in part because of this win. But man, that felt really shit, because FC is such a good dude. I wish that I had lost this game, and that one of my other teammates that won hacks their opponent instead. Because... Jeez, you never want to win by critting someone who's got the absolute counter to you, who's just outplayed you the entire game. Looking back on this, I think that maybe I could have had a chance earlier if I'd been, number one, a bit more conservative with the Ho-Oh's Thunder Waves, and try and make him think that I just didn't have them, so I could try and catch the Eternatus earlier. And that way, maybe try and waste more of his PP in general. Because he's got a limited number of turns to actually break through my stuff, and his way of doing that is obviously through hazards, which are a big... That's a big way to break through my stuff, because he just gets up 3 layers of spikes and then doubles once and something dies. But I think I could have had an out that wasn't hacks involved 141 turns ago or so, if I'd been smarter about the actual game itself. But FC dramatically outplayed me, and I had to go for, like, Bolt Strike critting in 3 turns or something in order to try and win. And I needed the Power Hacks in order to get there in the first place, because, as you just saw, Zygarde took that pretty comfortably. And if he could, if he was in a situation where Zekrom didn't have the sub up, then Zygarde would be able to live one and be able to kill me with 1,000 arrows, or he'd be able to break my sub if I was low enough and put me in range of Marshadow's sneak as well. So I got super lucky, and I deserve to be 3-1 at this point, realistically. This is the luck that I think, well, this is the luck that really, it stinks to get, because it's just like, ugh, that's just such a, it feels bad. I don't know. So yeah, my team made playoffs. Yeah, it was very nice. I'm up against Cam on the Durians, my old team. And I decide that I need to bring HO. Like, I have brought, if you look at it, I've brought Fat Balance, Fat Balance, Fat Balance, Fat Balance, Fat Balance. Oh no, not Fat Balance, this is the HO tab. But I've brought Fat Balance in every single game, and I'm thinking, I can't be so predictable as to only use Fat Balance, because I'm just going to run into a Dracovish, and I'm going to hate my life. So I decided to go with a HO team, and full credit to this goes to Manaphy, by the way. Chansey HO, because the big problem that HO teams have at the moment is that you just instantly lose to Calyrex, Scarf Calyrex, most of the time. Like, you could see that on my Week 3 game. The HO team just loses to Calyrex. So I decided to go with the HO that doesn't lose to Calyrex. I have Zekrom, Life Orb, so that I can lure in any potential Tangrowths. I have Sash Calyrex with Modest, so that at Nasty Plot, Draining Kiss will always 2-hit KO Yveltal, even if it's snarled. Zekrom is a Dragon Dancer with Life Orb, obviously. Lumberry, Double Dance Groudon, and a Life Orb, Taunt, Sucker Punch, Dark Pulse, Oblivion Wing, Yveltal. It's just a pretty standard HO team, but with a Chansey to give you the option of, like, coming in on Calyrex and then clicking Teleport to get momentum, as they try and bring in their defogger, so you can go into your Zekrom and start hitting things. Aerodactyl is just obviously the suicide lead, and we load into the game, and Cam has brought Darmanitan, Yveltal, Eternatus, NDM, Groudon, and Calyrex. Just a generally solid balanced team, not balanced team, offensive team between Darmanitan and Yveltal. So I just decide to lead Aerodactyl, and he clicks Darmanitan. As far as I'm concerned, like, Rocks is always what you want to click with your suicide lead. Citrium did say to me after the game, perhaps, that I should have clicked Rock Tomb here, and maybe I should have. I probably should have, looking back on it, but I wanted to click Rocks, and I didn't know, like, he could have clicked U-turn into Scarf Calyrex if he was expecting Rock Tomb, but in all honesty, I did just kind of just click Stealth Rock because it's a suicide lead and Rocks are most important. And yeah, I get to it KO'd by Aerodactyl pretty comfortably. Calyrex comes in, it threatens out the Darmanitan, but Darmanitan clicks Icicle Crash and gets the flinch. And that kind of means that I have to hack my way through the game. Chansey can take 2 most of the time, but it doesn't. And so I'm just thinking, okay, I go for like the fact that I can live this, and I go for misses. I get the Rock Polish off. But at this point, I don't even want to predict him going into anything else, so I don't even SD. I do have SD, I don't click it, because, like, I'm a bit tilted, to be honest, at the thought of just the Darmanitan literally getting 6 kills. Because at this point I'm thinking, I've lost. I have no chance. I click SD on the possible Precipice Blade miss, basically. Yveltal can come in. Calyrex is now literally dead to Rocks. It's a useless mon. And bring in Yveltal Oblivion Wing to get myself back up to full, as I then taunt the next turn as he goes for the Mystical Fire. I then calc -1 Oblivion Wing rather than -2 Oblivion Wing, because I don't recognise that he's going to click Mystical Fire again. I just misplayed this game pretty horrendously, in all honesty. The flinch mattered, and it would have been nice to not get flinched there, but I then played horrendously after getting hacked, and like, you can't excuse that. You can't pretend that like that was going to make a difference. He preserves the Eternatus because then that just shows up his matchup against Zekrom again, and yeah. I just got outplayed here. He did really well. Like, the entire game, basically, he did well. I expected him to go for Recover there instead of Mystical Fire, so I went for Dark Pulse. And here I'm going for Draco Meteor missing. It doesn't miss. I say GG even before it misses, because I know that, like, even if it misses, it's probably a Scarf Calyrex in the back, and I don't have the turns, so Calyrex dies. And I have a really kind of humiliating end to UPL. 4-1 is overall a good record, but at least I had a lot of fun in the tour, and I did feel like I played pretty well in some of the games. I don't think I played very well in my final 2 weeks, though, if I'm being honest, and I'm disappointed to end the tour that way. And it feels worse losing this game, because this was at 5-2, so I needed to win this for my team to have a chance of making it to finals, and we lost. Well, I lost. So yeah, there's nothing else that could be said or done, really. GG's to Cam. GG's to all my opponents, actually. I don't hold any bad feelings against any of them, obviously. It's Pokemon, it's hacks, it happens. But it did put a bit of a damper on the rest of the video, I'm not gonna lie. Because I was really hyped up about the fact that, like, Sub-CM Ogre did so well versus Rayhey, who I didn't think I was going to beat, and everything like that. I'm glad that I got to actually play and start for a lot of the season this time. Previously in UPLs, I haven't been a starter for most of them. I haven't played in most of them either. I've only played in 2 before this. I went 1 and 3 in my first one back when I had no idea what I was doing, and I was subbed in for the final week of 1 for a team that had already made playoffs a different time. So yeah, a little disappointed to finish UPL this way, but overall, great tournament, great experience for me. Really glad that I got to do it, and that I didn't go undrafted, because genuinely during the draft, during the live stream, I was thinking, I'm probably not going to get drafted. The teams that I think would like to have me, not like to have me, but the teams that I think would be most likely to get me are running out of money. I don't know if I'm going to be on their lists anymore. And then I got picked up, and that made me feel really happy and proud of that. So yeah. I'll be making more videos, not like frequently, but more videos at least than I did the last few months, because I've been saving. I've wanted to make a video on Carmine Raw Kyogre for a while actually, but I decided to save it because like no one else was using it, and I thought it could give my team a potential edge in UPL itself. It's a shame that it didn't, but I'm glad that it happened, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.